I had to think very, very hard about these topics, right? And in particular, how I was going to sequence them in a way that made sense, right? They say that a good story has a good clear beginning, middle, and an end. And I think a course is very much like that. Right? So for that reason, I thought very long and hard about that I think the topic we should begin with is this one. Okay. Now it's not what most of you said, which is fine. That's okay. I'm looking forward very much to getting into the paradoxes topic. But the reason why I think we should start with beauty in mathematics is like this. Okay. Why are we doing this subject? What's this course about? It's about appreciating mathematics. It's about seeing it in places that you're not used to seeing it normally. Okay. Now I think the wider world out there actually does really benefit from mathematics and see it everywhere. They just don't recognize it, right? And we don't get much time in regular maths to devote to saying, well, can you see where it is? Okay. So when I say beauty in mathematics, and that's kind of your heading, I mean two things. Number one, beauty itself is mathematical. I think at its core, when people say, oh, this is aesthetically attractive, or I think this looks really good, okay? Even though they may not be able to articulate it, they're actually touching a mathematical reality that is there, okay? And I'm going to try and equip you to see that a little bit. The second thing that I mean under this topic is that the converse is also true. Mathematics, it's beautiful. It has its own kind of beauty to it. In some ways, this is kind of a broader thing. I'm going to be trying to show you this for the next 6 months, really. And this is our particular focus. But I mean both of them together. Okay? Now, underneath that, we're going to make a subheading. Before you write it, I just want to share a quote with you. I don't know who wrote this quote. You can probably, or said this quote, you can probably find it online. A little knowledge is dangerous. It's so dangerous. A little knowledge. Has anyone heard this quote before? Anyone recognize it? That's fine. Just one of you. I wonder, having met it for the first time, most of you this morning, what you think it means. What do you think it's talking about? Why might a little knowledge be dangerous? Any suggestions? Yeah. What do you think?
It could mean two things. Like one is that you have very little knowledge in general.
Yep.
And the other thing is, for instance, someone does something and they tell you that little bit of knowledge could impact on everything.
Okay, good, right, so, yeah. So, you got a couple of different ways to let me see if I paraphrase, understand this quickly. If you're not very clever, if you don't have much knowledge, that's a dangerous sort of thing, right? In addition to that, even very small pieces of information can be very powerful. That's true, okay. Were you going to say something?
Well, I think I was just going to say you act by what you know. Like if you don't really know much, you're not that cautious.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good. All right. Now, I think those are both our points. I want to drive home on this word here, right? Why is it that a little knowledge is dangerous? This is actually very, very relevant for you guys. I'm not going to ask you who this represents, but I know a big number of people, and statistics tell me a large number of people in this room will learn a lot of things that they learn in school. They'll learn it ahead of time. Right? In whatever context it is, maybe it's tutoring or maybe it's through a friend or something like that. And the logic, particularly maths, is if I meet it in advance, that'll be really helpful to me later on, right? When I meet it again properly in class, I'll be familiar with it and it'll be all right, okay? But I think there's a lot of danger in that, okay? Because you sort of understand it. And then when you get to meet it the proper time, you're like, I know this. I get this, right? And so you pay less attention to it, you become kind of complacent about it, and you don't develop a real understanding of it. You never progress from that little knowledge that you had, right? So something I'd like you to make is the golden ratio. Now I know that you have met this before, at least you should have. If you didn't, that's okay, today will just be all new, right? But assuming you have, you're like, I think I've heard of this kind of thing before. You should know a little bit about it. The most dangerous thing you can do today is to say, I know this. I know this. Why are we spending time? It's like, come on, I chose this because it's going to be challenging and new, right? Why are we looking at something? Oh, well, maybe you don't know it as well as you thought, okay? And this is one of those classic examples of what we talked about in the last lesson, which was a simple thing which you can think very deeply about.